Okay, in this video I want to show you a couple of extra tools and a few tips and tricks. Okay, the first one I want to show you is the spot healing tool, which is really useful. It's on your toolbar, about sixth one down, and what it just enables you to do is if you've got an image of yourself or somebody you're using, go on that spot healing tool, just draw a little circle around any tiny little blemishes, and you see it works just like the clone stamp, but automatically, and just heals any kind of little things that that would go away within a couple of weeks. This is just a picture of me at a conference in Turkey. Another tool that's quite useful, so kind of just tidy up any images that you've got. It can be quite useful if you've got a rendering and a pixel failed or something. You can use that tool to sort out that as well. Another one that's slightly controversial is the Liquify tool, which is found within Filter Liquify. And the Liquify tool enables you to tweak and modify images. It's got this little face feature, so if you go to the face tool, what it can do is it picks up people's faces, and you've probably seen this reported on the news about how celebrities like to make themselves look a little bit thinner or have bigger eyes or whatever it is, to make themselves look more attractive. So you can actually really easily just adjust somebody's face if you want to. Looks a bit funny now, doesn't it? You can play around with this tool. But more interesting is actually this one here, is the top bit is the forward warp tool. And that enables, it just kind of warps an image slightly. So it looks a bit odd in here, so I'm just going to cancel that. But say, for example, this was your product. Say you rendered up this personal speaker, and you wanted to do something with it. You wanted to see what it looked like in a different variant. We can go up to Filter, Liquify. Opens up this new window, and again I'm on the forward warp tool. Select a brush size that's pretty big, good amount of pressure, and we can actually start to drag into and start manipulating an image. So for example, if I wanted to kind of make this have almost like a kind of a hand grip in the middle, I can start to play around with the design and actually see, because you see it's the reflection is all the same. Maybe even I'll take it in a little bit at the top and even at the bottom, just to kind of curve it in a little bit, so make it kind of quite a different design now, quite a different aesthetic that I've gone for. But you can actually just play around and see what your design would look like differently. This could help build up a number of design concepts. What I'm going to show you next, though, is how we can take that and actually add it into, say, an advert or something like that. So say you wanted to present this. Let's just go New, and I've just grabbed an advert from Coca-Cola, and we've got this girl holding this Coca-Cola bottle. Okay, so let's take in our product. We're doing a bit of product placement here. We're going to see what it looks like in situ. I'm just going to hold down that select tool, and I'm just going to really quickly get rid of all this white background. Obviously do it properly, get rid of every bit of white that you can see, but that'll do for now. So using those drag handles, let's rotate it, let's get it to the right size. I'm basically going to replace her Coke bottle with my speaker, this Philips speaker, and see what it would look like, see if it's kind of any good. Okay, so I'm going to make it a little bit wider, something like that. That looks about right. Now, one of the most important things is to think about, if we're ever trying to superimpose an image into a product into an image, is to look at the light and the shadow. Now we can see here that all the shadow is on the left hand side. You see her shoulders in shadow, her hair's quite dark. On this product image I've just brought in, all the shadow's on the right hand side. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to flip that around. We could just drag it out and pull it back the other way if we wanted to, and kind of drag it into roughly the position. That's absolutely fine. Or we can, on the top here, you've got your height and your width, your W and your H. You can just hit a minus in terms of width, and that will flip it around. See, it's flipped it the other way around, back again. It's upside down, I can rotate it around. Okay, so I'm just going to put that in location, so it's somewhere about there. Okay, Now we want her to hold this and to make it realistic, and I found obviously an image that is she's holding a drink and it's kind of roughly the right size. So the best way to do that is to pick up your brush tool, make sure that's on 100% opacity, turn the hardness up a bit, probably about that big. I'm basically going to be drawing over her fingers, and if we click on our select tool, our quick select, and literally just draw over, in this case her fingers, and I'm going to be using this as my selection. Now one of the key things about Photoshop is selecting different elements. Okay, and a lot of these videos have been about how we do good selections, because the quicker you can make a good selection, the more proficient you will be. So what I'm doing is I'm very quickly just going around. Now obviously you'd want to spend a little bit more time than I am on this, going around and selecting her fingers, because this is what I'm going to be cutting out. So this bit up to here, yep, that's fine. Okay, and that one there, yep, that's fine. Into there, and just quickly fill in this bit here. Okay, cool. So I've got this selection. So this is the bit that I want to keep. In this quick selection, remember, we hit Q and that makes our selection. Now I'm selected on layer 1, I'm going to go Control C, Control V, and that's copied that onto layer 3. Okay, you can't really see it now. If I drag it on top of layer 2 and turn back on layer 2, you will see that I've now brought her fingers into the top layer. Okay, so we're already starting to make it look a bit more realistic. Let's turn off those top two layers, because I've still got an issue in that I've got this Coca-Cola bottle top that I don't want at all at the there. So again, click quick selection on your brush tool, bit of red over that top of the Coca-Cola bottle that I don't want, something like that. Q for selection, edit, fill, content aware fill. Okay, that would get rid of that. Deselect, not an amazing job, but probably good enough for what I need. Yeah, it's kind of hidden it for mostly what I need when we put those two back in. Next thing I want to do is we need to add a little bit of shadow to make it more realistic. So grab a new layer, put that layer above our new audio device, but below her fingers, so layer 4. Grab my brush, maybe make it a little bit smaller, knock the opacity down, and if I hold down Alt, I can get the eyedropper really quickly, grab the eyedropper and start to put in, turn my hardness down, start to put in a bit of shadow. Okay, so I'm working on layer 4, this is going to be my shadow layer. I can just do this quite quickly. It doesn't really matter if I go off, because I can always come back in and edit it if I want to. I can remove some of that shadow. So something a bit like that. Maybe I'll knock down the opacity of the whole layer just so it doesn't look too overpowering. Something like that. We're kind of looking a bit more believable. Next I'm going to do, right click, make that brush really big probably, and put a bit more shadow on this side of the product. Probably a bit inside the product. And actually I quite like a little bit of shadow, an extra bit of shadow on her actually, because I feel this is quite a kind of slightly moody image. And so I think we could maximise the shadow. Right, I've just gone to rubber now, a big rubber, low hardness. And opacity again, knock that down. I'm just going to start rubbing this back out again. Okay, so I put a bit too much on, which is fine. I'm just going to rub a little bit of it out, make it look a little bit more realistic. Something like that. Okay, we've got an issue with her hand. We've got too much shadow there, so just make that a bit smaller. We don't want that line. There's a bit of an awkward line there. So let's just rub that out on 100% and get rid of that nicely. So her hand doesn't look odd in any way. Finally, we've got a little bit of white there. Right click size, make that a little bit smaller. Layer on her hand. I think that's coming from her hand, the copy and paste hand. So let's just remove that. Okay, and there we go. That's very quick. But as you can see, apart from the fact that logo's facing the wrong way around and we've still got a little bit of white line around our product, that is looking pretty good. I could crop out obviously our big Coca-Cola thing, and there we have it. She is now holding our product concept. So this is just demonstrating a mixture of features. We've got the selection features, we've got the liquify features, so we can play around different concepts, and we can put those concepts into into environments, see what they look like. Hopefully that's useful.